You know, when I decided to get married in my kitchen, I knew it wasn't going to be some grand affair. I'm Linda, 32, and frankly, grand affairs aren't really my style, especially not after everything with my family. After my dad passed a few years back, the inheritance fight turned into a full-blown war, and I was the one who got pushed out. My mother, Edith, who's 59, and always obsessed with appearances, and my younger sister, Milena, 27, who's basically her mini-me, made sure of it. They wanted me gone, and they got their wish. I ended up in this small, hard-won apartment. It's not much, but the kitchen, that's my sanctuary. I poured everything into making it feel like home, painting the cabinets, adding shelves, making it truly mine. So when Teddy, my now husband, who's 34 and the most patient man I've ever met, proposed, a kitchen wedding just felt right, intimate, real. I sent out invitations, mostly out of a sense of obligation. Predictably, my mother and sister declined, of course. Their responses were dripping with thinly veiled scorn about how quaint it sounded. My cousin Bethany, 33, who's always desperate for their approval, followed suit. It stung, but I expected it. My friend Iris Dixon, 29, was a godsend. She was the only non-family guest, and she helped me string up fairy lights and arrange the wildflowers I'd picked myself. Teddy was nervous, worried about what my family would say, but I just wanted to get it done. The wedding itself was perfect, just us, a few close friends, a potluck spread, and Teddy and I exchanging vows right there by the stove. It was full of laughter and genuine warmth. For a few hours, I actually forgot about the outside world. Then during the reception, my phone started buzzing like crazy on the counter. Notifications flashed across the screen, Instagram, Facebook, texts. I tried to ignore it, but the sheer volume was impossible. My heart sank. I finally picked it up, and the first thing I saw was a screenshot. It was from a family group chat, one I'd been removed from months ago. My mother, Milena, and Bethany's names were right there, along with a string of messages. "Can you believe this trashy kitchen wedding?" Milena had written. "It's an embarrassment." My stomach dropped. The group chat screenshot was just the beginning. The next morning, it was a full-blown online assault. My mother, Milena, and Bethany had gone to town, posting carefully cropped photos from the wedding. Not the good ones, of course. They'd zoomed in on my thrifted dress, the mismatched chairs, the slightly crooked fairy lights. Milena, with her perfect Instagram aesthetic, had taken the lead. Her caption read something like, "So proud of my sister's unique vision for her special day. Kitchen wedding. DIY bride. Keeping it real." But the emojis and the knowing wink in the comments section made it clear it was pure sarcasm. The comments section exploded. It wasn't just their friends, but strangers too, piling on. "Is this a joke? Looks like a potluck in a college dorm. Did she run out of money?" The family narrative spread like wildfire. I was the ungrateful, tacky sister who'd thrown a cheap, embarrassing wedding. Milena's post especially went viral. It felt like the whole internet was laughing at me. I sat there, numb, scrolling through the endless stream of derision. Every cruel word felt like a fresh stab. Teddy found me curled up on the couch, phone still clutched in my hand. He gently took it from me. "Don't look at it, Linda," he said, his voice soft but firm. "It's not true. Our wedding was beautiful." He was right, of course. It was beautiful to us. But the sheer public humiliation was overwhelming. Part of me wanted to lash out, to defend myself, to expose them for the petty, vindictive people they were. But another part, the wounded part, just wanted to disappear. I resolved not to respond. What was the point? They'd just twist it further. I felt so isolated, even with Teddy by my side. It was like I was back in high school, the weird kid everyone whispered about. Just when I thought it couldn't get worse, my phone buzzed again. It was a notification from Bethany. She'd tagged me in a meme. It was a picture of a dumpster fire with the caption, "My wedding planning versus my actual wedding." My face burned. The humiliation was amplified, personal and public, all at once. The online mockery continued for days. Every time I opened my phone, there was another jab, another snide comment from someone I barely knew, echoing the narrative my mother, Edith, My younger sister Milena and my cousin Bethany had pushed. I tried to focus on work, on Teddy, on anything but the digital pile-on. About a week after the wedding, I was going through the few gifts we'd received. Most were small, thoughtful things from friends, but there was one I was looking forward to, a package from my work friends. They'd chipped in for something nice, they told me. I specifically remembered them saying it was a housewarming wedding gift and that it was on its way. I checked the Amazon tracking. It said delivered Saturday, 2:17 p.m. That was right in the middle of our reception. I remembered a brief lull when everyone was inside eating, and the front door was probably unlocked, but out of sight from the kitchen. I asked Teddy if he'd seen it. He hadn't. Iris, who was helping clear plates, hadn't seen any delivery either. We didn't have a doorbell camera, but my building had a security camera covering the main entrance and the mail area. I asked the building manager if I could review the footage from that afternoon. He was helpful and pulled it up. We watched the time-stamped video. A delivery driver clearly walked up to my door, placed a package down, and took a photo. But then, about 5 minutes later, there was a jump in the footage. A glitch. The screen flickered, and when it came back, the package was gone. The manager shrugged. Sometimes the old system does that. A brief power surge, maybe. I nodded, pretending to accept his explanation, but a cold knot formed in my stomach. A glitch? Right when a package vanished? It felt too convenient. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, but I didn't say anything to Teddy or Iris. What was I going to say? That my family, who had already publicly shamed me, might have also stolen from me. It sounded insane, even to me. Meanwhile, the online ridicule from my family escalated. Milena posted about ungrateful people and playing victim in a general sense, but it felt pointed. Bethany liked every single one of her posts. They were clearly enjoying twisting the knife. Then, 10 days after the wedding, an email landed in my inbox. The sender was anonymous. The subject line was just, "You need to see this." Attached was a video file. My heart hammered against my ribs. I had a terrible feeling about it. My hands trembled as I clicked on the attachment. The file name was just a string of random letters and numbers. It opened to what looked like porch security footage. Timestamp for the Saturday of my wedding, exactly at 2:19 p.m, just after the delivery driver left. My breath hitched. There they were. My mother, Edith, my sister, Milena, and my cousin Bethany walking up my steps. They weren't sneaking. They looked almost casual, like they belonged there. Milena was holding her phone, probably recording for her own social media. Edith pointed at the package on my doorstep. Bethany bent down, picked it up, and then, without a moment's hesitation, started tearing at the tape. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a glitch. This was theft. They ripped open the box, and their expressions shifted from smug curiosity to pure, unadulterated panic. A torrent of small, dark objects erupted from the package, scattering across my porch. Milena shrieked, dropping her phone. Edith stumbled back, swatting wildly. Bethany let out a horrified gasp, tripping over her own feet. They were flailing, screaming, genuinely terrified. It was chaos. Then, as the camera zoomed slightly, or perhaps the person recording it manually adjusted it, I saw what had caused the pandemonium. Dozens, no, hundreds of realistic-looking fake spiders. My work friends, of course. They had a reputation for elaborate practical jokes. The expensive gift was a booby trap. The video showed them scrambling, kicking the spiders, trying to get away from the porch as fast as possible, leaving the package and its contents strewn about. They looked utterly ridiculous, their carefully constructed facades crumbling in a flurry of plastic arachnids and genuine terror. The video ended abruptly. Below the attachment, the anonymous email had just one line. "You need to see this. Do something." I replayed it. And replayed it again. The rage that had been simmering for weeks finally boiled over, but it was mixed with a strange, almost giddy satisfaction. They hadn't just mocked me, they'd stolen from me, and in doing so, they'd walked right into a trap. I was still staring at the screen, trying to process the sheer audacity of it all, when my phone buzzed. It was a message from Edith. "Hope you're enjoying your little honeymoon phase, dear. it read, followed by a winking emoji. Just remember, some things you just can't buy with thrift store finds. She was gloating, completely oblivious. She had no idea what I had just seen. The message from Edith felt like a match dropped into a pool of gasoline. My blood was boiling. I replayed the video again, watching their panicked faces, the fake spiders scattering, the sheer audacity of them, not just mocking my wedding, but then stealing a gift, only to be humiliated by a bunch of plastic spiders. It was almost poetic. I spent the rest of the evening consumed by anger, pacing my small apartment. What was I going to do? The options swirled in my head. Post the video on social media, confront them directly, throw it in their faces, or something else entirely. The thought of seeing their reaction, of turning the tables, was intoxicating. Teddy came home to find me still fuming. The video paused on my laptop screen. He watched it, his gentle face hardening with disbelief. "Linda, this is... wow," he said, shaking his head. "But what are you thinking of doing with it? Are you going to post it?" "I don't know," I admitted, though a part of me desperately wanted to. Part of me wants to plaster it everywhere, make them feel every ounce of the humiliation they put me through. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I get it, believe me, but are you sure you want to go that far? It could get messy, really messy." He worried I was going too far, that this vengeful streak would consume me. He was always the cautious one. I called Iris later that night after Teddy had gone to bed. I played her the video over a video call, watching her eyes widen. "Oh, my God," she whispered, a grin spreading across her face. "Linda, this is gold. Absolute gold. You have to do something with this. You deserve justice after what they did." Justice. That word resonated with me. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about evening the score. They had tried to publicly destroy me, and now I had the means to expose them. Posting it on my own social media felt too direct, too much like engaging in their petty game. I wanted something cleaner, something that would hit harder. I thought about the building manager, the glitch in the security footage. Someone had clearly tampered with it, or maybe the anonymous sender had access to a different untampered feed. Either way, they wanted me to act. The next morning, I made my decision. I wasn't going to talk to them. I wasn't going to give them a chance to spin it, to deny it, to manipulate me. I copied the video file. First, I found the email address for the non-emergency police line in their jurisdiction and sent it there, along with a brief, anonymous note about a suspected porch theft. Then, I found the contact for a local reporter known for investigative pieces on community issues. I attached the video again, this time with a more detailed but still anonymous tip about a prominent local family involved in a bizarre incident. I chose no contact to maintain my innocence, to keep my hands clean, at least publicly. I hit send. The silence in my apartment felt deafening. I had just set a bomb. Later that afternoon, my phone buzzed with a news alert. "Prominent family investigated for porch theft." My heart leapt into my throat. It was happening. The news story spread like wildfire. The initial local report quickly got picked up by larger online outlets, fascinated by the bizarre details. A prominent family, a stolen package, and a booby trap of fake spiders. The footage, once it was released by the authorities, was everywhere. My mother Edith, who was on the board of a well-known local non-profit, was suspended almost immediately. The optics of a respected community figure caught on video stealing a package, even one full of fake spiders, were just too damaging. Milena's carefully curated Instagram empire crumbled. Her sponsorship deals, the ones she'd worked so hard to get, vanished overnight. Brands didn't want to be associated with someone caught on camera in such a ridiculous, incriminating situation. Bethany's workplace, a fairly conservative real estate agency, was mortified by her exposure. I heard through the grapevine that she was put on indefinite leave. The public shaming they had inflicted on me was now being mirrored back at them tenfold. The best part? They had no idea who sent the footage. The anonymous email, the untraceable tip to the news. They were scrambling, turning on each other. I imagined the accusations flying between Edith, Milena, and Bethany, each one suspecting the other of some slip-up, some betrayal. Paranoia would be eating them alive. My inbox became a war zone. First, there were the pleading messages from Edith, full of feigned confusion and demands to know what was happening. Then Milena, trying to manipulate me, hinting that it was all a misunderstanding. Bethany sent a few frantic, rambling texts begging me to make it stop. When those didn't work, the tone shifted. Threats, accusations. "You'll regret this, Linda." "You're a monster." I stayed silent. I didn't reply to a single one. I simply watched a quiet satisfaction blossoming in my chest. My name, which they had tried to drag through the mud, was now being whispered for entirely different reasons. Linda Stevens, people would say. The one who turned the tables. It wasn't pity anymore. It was a mix of awe and a little bit of fear. Then, late one night, my phone rang. It was Milena. Her voice was raw, choked with sobs. "Linda, please," she wailed. "You have to fix this. Mom's losing everything. And there's something else. Something about Dad's will. You need to know. It wasn't just us, Linda. Mum, she did something." Her voice dropped to a whisper, hinting at a deeper family secret, a desperate attempt at leverage. The sound of Milena's desperate sobs on the phone was almost satisfying. Almost. But beneath the schadenfreude, there was a flicker of something else. Exhaustion. This whole saga had taken its toll. Still, her mention of Dad's will, of Mom doing something, snagged my attention. It was the first time they'd ever hinted at the truth behind my father's death, and the inheritance fight that had driven me out. I agreed to meet Milena, but not out of a desire for reconciliation. I needed to know. We met at a neutral coffee shop, far from my apartment, far from their usual haunts. Milena looked terrible. Her eyes were puffy, her perfect makeup smudged. She was a shadow of the image-obsessed sister I knew. "Linda, you have to call off the dogs," she pleaded, reaching across the table. I pulled my hand back. "Mum is a wreck. Bethany's practically in hiding. This is destroying us." "Destroying you?" I echoed, my voice flat. "What do you think you did to me? You publicly humiliated me, mocked my wedding, and then you stole from me." "It was just a prank," she insisted, though her eyes darted away. "We didn't know it was a gift. We just wanted to show you that your kitchen wedding was a joke." "A joke?" I leaned forward, my voice low and steady. "Do you know what it felt like? To see my own family, people who should have been happy for me, tearing me down for the entire internet to see? To have strangers laugh at something that was deeply meaningful to me?" Then she dropped the bomb. "Mum changed Dad's will, Linda, after he died. She said he was confused and she had power of attorney. She cut you out, mostly. Said you wouldn't appreciate it, that you'd squander it. That's why you got so little." A cold, hard knot formed in my stomach. So that was it. The real reason for the inheritance fight. Not just pettiness, but outright fraud. It explains so much. But even this revelation, this deeper betrayal, didn't make me waver. It only solidified my resolve. "And you just went along with it?" I asked, my voice devoid of emotion. She looked down. "She's Mom. What was I supposed to do?" "You could have told me," I said. "You could have stood up for me. Instead, you joined in the mockery. You amplified it. You stole from me." I paused, letting the silence hang heavy. "I didn't call off the dogs, Milena. I simply showed the world what you all are. And I did it very deliberately. Every step of the way." Her eyes widened, a flicker of fear replacing the desperation. You sent the video?" I gave her a small, humourless smile. "You just wait, Linda," she threatened, her voice shaking as she stood up. "You'll regret this." But as she stormed out, leaving me alone at the table, I felt no regret. Only a profound sense of resolution. And for the first time in a long time, powerful. It's been a year since Milena's desperate call. A year since I walked away from her in that coffee shop, leaving her with the cold, hard truth of what I'd done. A lot has changed. My kitchen, for one. It's gleaming now, completely remodelled. New cabinets, quartz countertops, a huge island perfect for entertaining. It's exactly what I always wanted, and the best part? It was paid for by the settlement money. Turns out, my family, in their infinite wisdom, decided to sue me for defamation after the video went viral. They claimed I orchestrated the whole thing, that the video was doctored, that their reputations were unfairly ruined. It was a joke. The footage was undeniably real, and their own actions were on full display. The judge sided with me, and they were ordered to pay my legal fees and a significant sum for damages. It was a final public humiliation for them and a validation for me. My mother, Edith, lost her position on the non-profit board and quietly retired from public life. Milena's social media career is dead in the water. She tried to rebrand, but the internet never forgets. Bethany moved out of state, apparently unable to face the whispers and sideways glances. Their carefully constructed world, built on appearances and judgment, shattered. They avoid public spaces, and from what I hear, they barely speak to each other, consumed by suspicion and resentment. The social scars are permanent. There's a quiet satisfaction in that, I won't lie. The feeling of being underestimated, dismissed, and publicly shamed is gone. People don't look at me with pity anymore. They look at me with a certain respect, maybe even a little awe. Sometimes I catch whispers when I walk into a room. That's Linda Stevens, the one who... But the tone has shifted. It's not derision. It's a recognition of power. The revenge was sweet, but it came with a cost. The bridge to my family is burned, incinerated. There's an isolation that comes with that, a quiet space where there used to be, filled now only with my own peace. Teddy has been amazing, my steadfast rock. Iris and I are closer than ever. I've learned to trust the few people who truly stood by me. Tonight I'm standing in my beautiful new kitchen, a glass of wine in my hand. The fairy lights are gone, replaced by sleek modern fixtures. But the warmth, the feeling of home, is stronger than ever. I raise my glass to the empty room, to my own peace, hard-won and fiercely protected. Just as I'm about to take a sip, my phone buzzes. Another anonymous email, no subject line. The message is simple. Well played, Linda. Some of us have been waiting a long time for someone to finally expose them. R was Robert Valdez. Edith's longtime boyfriend, the man who was unwittingly entangled in the fallout. He was the anonymous sender. I stare at the message, a slow smile spreading across my